So hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon Henry, if you haven't seen me or heard me before. Today we're going to have a look at my pattern for Aran weight yarn, and it's got some texture and some bubbles and all kinds of things going on. They might include a few stitches that you haven't seen before, so you can use those on other projects. This I've made into a lap size throw, but if you do one pattern repeat, which is this much, it would make a really nice scarf. Two pattern repeats would make a wrap or shawl. 3 or 4 pattern repeats make a really nice lap throw. So I'm only going to show you a short amount of it so that you can understand the stitch pattern, but you can chain whatever length you like to suit the project that you're working on. It's a little bit different from normal because we're only going to work on the right side row. We're not going to turn and work backwards. And the main reason for this is, one, it's much easier because you can see the pattern at all times, but also it automatically makes this fringe, so we don't have to go back and spend hours knotting a fringe at the end. If you don't want the fringe in, what you can do is do a folded border and encase all that in. That's something that I will show you on a later video. Also, using the same pattern, we can work in the round or in the square. Because we're only working on the front side and we're going round and round, it's also very easy to convert into that. So you could do a throw in the working in straight lines, and then maybe work a cushion working in the round. What you could also do is work one pattern repeat, which is this is one pattern repeat, and then sew them together in squares. That would also make a really nice throw. So our foundation chain should be multiples of 3 plus 4. So in this case, I've got 34 chain, which I'm just going to do the last 4. So the first row, incredibly easy. In the third chain from the hook, we're going to work half doubles all the way across the chain. So that's a really easy start. This is a nice relaxed pattern. There are 4 textured repeats with these bands of half doubles in between. You can choose, if you like, just to do one of the textured repeats and just repeat that all the way through the row. Entirely up to you. So we're going to work all the way along. So we've got to the end of that row. So the strange or the more unusual part about this pattern is that we're not going to turn and go back the other way. So we're just going to do one chain and snip the yarn. These tails make the fringe. So snip the yarn about the length that you'd like your fringe to be and just pull through. So now we're going to start at this end again and work in the same direction. So again, leave a tail that's long enough for your fringe. So we're going to now join to that first, the top of that first stitch, and we're just going to pull through and make a slip stitch that joins the tail on. So we're going to do one chain, and we're just going to pull up a little loop, and then we're going to twist that, and then we're going to work one double back post crochet into that first stitch. So all of your starting stitches will be exactly the same as this. So then we're going to work another row of half doubles, starting into this stitch. Let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see, hopefully. So with a half double, if you look at it, we've got the V kind of chain stitch on the top that we would normally have, but if you turn the work over, you can also see we've got another loop here. So can you see we've got the normal kind of chain stitch going on the top, but we've got another stitch at the back here. So this is the stitch that we're going to work the half doubles in all across the row. So here's the first stitch, and that first one is sometimes a bit difficult to get into, and you can see here is the next one, and the next one, and so on. So we're going to do half doubles all across the row into that stitch. When I write this, excuse me, when I write this as a pattern, I call these third loop half double crochets because we are going into the third loop of that top. So there's 1, 2, and we're going into this one, 3. So when you turn the work towards you, it's actually quite easy to see the loop that we should be going into. You'll also know if you're doing that correctly, because on the front of the work you'll see this chain appearing there at the front, and then on the next row that's going to fold down, and that's going to give us these nice bands in between the textured repeats. So I'll show you that a couple more times. And then when we get to the end, I'm tangled up again. If you've watched the other videos on my channel, you'll see that for some reason or other, I always get the yarn tangled somewhere. I've tried all kinds of ways of doing it, but mostly the reason is that I'm not working where I would normally do. I'm normally sitting in a comfy chair, and this is on my lap, but to get this under the camera, I'm working at arm's length, which is something, say, that I'm not terribly used to. So we're going to go all the way down here to the last stitch, and then we're going to repeat what we did at the beginning, and we're going to do a double back post double crochet when we get to the last stitch. So you can see here we're at the last stitch here, so we're going to do a back post double crochet around that last stitch, and every stitch at the end of the row will be the same as this. One chain, cut your yarn, leaving enough tail for your fringe, and that's the first row done. So we're now going to do another row of that exactly the same. So all we're going to do is repeat the last row. So after that row it looks like this, and so the next row we're going to work into the third loop again, but this time we're going to work doubles rather than half doubles. So remember, this first stitch is always exactly the same, so we're going to go into that first stitch and do a slip stitch, pull up the loop, give it a twist, and work a back post double into that first stitch. Effectively all this does is give a firm edge, and the same the other side. So we're going to go exactly the same as we did before, into that third loop, if I can find it. There it is. Oops. That first stitch behind the back post is sometimes a bit difficult to get into, but can you see, here's the V stitch. Let's get in closer. Here's the V stitch on the top, and the back loop is there right behind it. And the yarn is split, of course, because I'm trying to show you. So we're doing a double crochet, remember now, across the row, not half doubles. So what this does is separate this band from where we're going to do the textured row. So these bands are worked exactly the same in between each set of textures, and when we get to the end of the row we're going to do a back post double crochet, or is it a front post? I always get confused. No, we're not. We're doing a we're doing a front post double crochet. So it's more watch what I do rather than what I say. It's very early in the morning, and I'll see you when we get to the end of the row. So here's the first separation band complete, and we're ready now to start our first texture, which is, let me see if I can find it for you. which is, it's not that, it's this one. So I don't know if you can see this properly on camera, but we've got these overlay V stitches going on, and you see this is the first rows of the first band of the separation, and then we've got these V stitches in between. Much easier than it actually looks. So now we've done this first separation band, what you can also do now, because we've created a firm edge here at the start, so you can either carry on the same joining with a slip stitch, or you can now just do a standing front post double to start with, and that joins it very nicely. So what we're going to do now is work, because we're working into the stitches normal now, we're not working into any back stitches here. And here's the first stitch. We're going to work 2 double crochets to start with. So we've come into this stitch here, and now we're going to miss 1 stitch, and we're going to do a front post treble into that next stitch. So front post treble into that next stitch. So the stitch we missed, which is the stitch that's now lying behind that front post, we're going to work 1 double into, so you can see it's actually here behind that front post. And then we're going to work 1 stitch in front of the front post, so that's the next stitch. Done. You can see we've done the first sloping treble. So now what we're going to do is work a front post treble into that same stitch that front post treble goes into. So we're coming back here and working into that stitch. But we're not going to complete the stitch. We're going to leave the last 2 loops on there. Can you see we've worked into that stitch already? So we're going to miss the next stitch, which is this one, and we're going to now work a front post double into the next stitch. And then we're going to complete both stitches. So what we've done is worked 2 front post doubles together. So that's a repeat. So we're going to go, remember, behind this one and work a double crochet. We're going to go in front of that one and work a double crochet. We're going to do a front post into that same front post as before, but don't complete the stitch. We're going to miss 1 stitch, and we're going to do a front post into the next stitch, and then complete the stitches. And you can see we're getting these V stitches now. So this is a stitch that people forget. Remember to go behind that front post and do a double, and then in front of the front post and do a double. We're going to miss the next stitch, and do a treble front post into the next one, but don't complete the stitch. And then, no, I lied. See, there was me being clever, and I actually missed a bit out, so we're going to do a front post treble into the same front post as before, but don't complete the stitch. We're going to miss one stitch and a front post treble into the next one and complete the stitch. So again, we're going behind for a double, we're going in front for a double, we're going to do a front post treble into that same stitch but don't complete the stitch. We've got 2 loops on our hook. We're going to miss one stitch and do a front post treble into the next one, and then we're going to complete the stitch. So we'll do that once more. That's a double behind, a double in front, front post treble into the same front post treble as the last one, but don't complete the stitch. Miss one stitch, front post treble into the next one, and complete the stitch. So remember always that back one behind, one in front, front post treble but don't complete the stitch. When we're missing the next stitch, remember this stitch here, look, has already been worked into, so we're going to miss that stitch and then do a front post into the next one and complete the stitch. So we're going to get to the end of the row and we're going to do the front post when we get to the end as usual, and I'll see you when we're back at the beginning. So you can see that's our first textured panel done. So when I got to the end here, I did 2 double crochets and then the front post, and so now we're going to do this separation panel again. So to start with, we're going to just work 1 row of half doubles all across the row, just into the stitch as normal. There's nothing going on in the back. So don't forget this first stitch, which is here. So half doubles all across the row. At this point you can do your stitch count just to make sure that everything went as planned on the row before. We're just working a half double into every stitch across the row. So then I'm going to work 2 rows of the third loop. I've got a right angle there, look. 2 rows of the third loop half doubles, just as we did on the first lot of separation row. So here's the first stitch, and we can see that third loop is back. Oh no, it's not. The third loop is there. That first one is always difficult to find. and then we're away. Here's the next one. So exactly the same as we did on the first separation row, and we know that we're doing it right because we end up with this chain stitch on the front. So I'm going to finish that row, and then I'm going to do another row the same, and I'll see you when we're back there. So we've worked 2 rows now of the third loop half doubles, and now we're going to work 1 row of third loop doubles. So as always, front post to start with. This is the first stitch here, so make sure that we go into the right half or third loop behind there, and now we're working a row of doubles instead of half doubles. All the way across, and you'll know if you've done the right amount of rows because the separation band, you'll get 3 rows of chain, the same as we did at the front. So we're going to work all the way across there, and then we'll be ready for our next textured row. So that's that row done, and so now we're going to do the next band of texture, which is, let me bring this across so I can show you, which is this row of puff stitches here. So we're going to start as always with I'm doing standing front post now, and then we're going to work 3 doubles, and we're going to work a puff stitch, which is yarn round, insert into the next stitch and draw up a loop, yarn round, insert, draw up a loop, yarn round, insert, draw up a loop, and yarn round, draw up, pull up a loop. So it's 4 times. Pull it through the loops, leaving that one on your hook, yarn round and pull it through both together, and you can see we've got that nice bobbly puff stitch. So then we're going to do, let's have a look, 5 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a puff stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, all but the last 2 loops, and then pull it through. It's 5 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, puff stitch, five doubles, puff stitch. You'll see as you go along with this, this really does work up very quickly and is much easier than it looks. But of course we don't tell anybody that. Oops, this yarn's a bit splitty. You know, it feels lovely. This is a high wool content, so it's very soft. And then you'll finish with 5 doubles and the front post. Remember to leave enough tail for your fringe. So now the next row we're going to work a row of half doubles, but when we get to the puff stitches we're going to work a back post around those puff stitches. So into every stitch half double, 2, 3, and then when we get to this puff stitch on the row below, I've split that yarn again. Let's do that again. That's better. So when we get to this puff stitch on the row below, we're going to do a back post half double around that puff stitch. And what that does effectively, it brings it more up to the surface. So half doubles, don't forget this first stitch. So it's 5 of those. And then a back post half double around that puff stitch. So we're going to carry on across the whole row, and I'll see you when we're back at the beginning. So now we're ready to work our in between or transition. I'll have to come up with a proper name for that, I think. So these rows here are exactly the same as we've worked before, they're always the same. So we've done the transition panel exactly the same as we've done before. So if you want to, you can actually just carry on repeating these 2 texture panels, and that looks quite nice, but we're going to just do another 2 texture panels that are slightly different. So this one is another V textured panel, but it's actually going in the opposite direction. Let me see if I can find this and show you. So we're going to do this one now. So these are all over 1 row of texture. This is actually doing 2 rows of texture. So you'll see as we go along. Start as always with your front post double. Oops. Getting a tangle with those fringe bits sometimes. So we're going to do now 3 doubles. Oops. Just normal doubles, no third loop or anything of that nature going on. So now we're going to work across. We're going to miss the next stitch, which is this one. We're going to work a front post double into the next stitch. And just as before on the other row, we're going to work 1 double into that stitch that's behind. That's an important one not to forget. 1 double into the stitch that's in front, as in this stitch. So now we're going to miss the next stitch, and we're going to do a front post double. So we're in that one already, so we're going to miss that one, and we're going to do a front post double into that one. And we're going to go behind. And 1 in front. We're going to miss the next one. And a front post treble into that one, 1 behind, 1 in front. So miss the next one, front post treble, double behind, double in front. If it's a bit county, the row, I quite often kind of repeat the mantra as we go along, just so I know where we are. So remember, the mantra for this is miss 1 stitch, front post treble, a double behind, and a double in front. And that's your repeat all across the row. Can you see these textured stitches are sloping in this direction? So exactly the same all the way to the end of the row, and then I'll see you for the next one. So then the next row is, that's the front post double as always, and then we're going to do a double crochet into the next 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to do a front post treble around this front post. Can you see? there. Then we're going to miss that one, a double behind or into that front post treble there, and a double into the next stitch, and then a front post double into the top of that front post. Miss one, so we're doing double in front, double behind, double in front, front post, and miss one. So double, double, front post, oopsie daisy, front post, miss one, double, double, front post treble, miss one, double, double, front post, miss one, double, double, front post, miss one, double, oops, double, front post, miss one, and so on. And you can see what happens, we get these V stitches going in the opposite direction. So when we finish that row, I'm going to work one row of half doubles, and then 2 rows of third loop half doubles, and 1 row of third loop doubles. I don't know if that's right or not. We're going to work a transition panel exactly the same as we've done before, and then I'll see you for the final textured row. So as the sun came through the window, normally I'd shut that out while I'm filming, but I did notice, no, it's gone. Of course it's gone now. But I noticed you could actually see the texture a little bit better. Let's see if we can make it different so you can see the texture a bit more. So anyway, we've done the next transition section, and now we're on to the last texture section, which is, let's see if we can find it on here. It's puff stitches, but we've got 3 together. I don't know if you can see that. So we've got 3 puff stitches and then separated by 4. So let's show you that. So start as always. So now we're going to work 3 doubles, Then we're going to do puff stitch, double crochet, puff stitch, oops, I only did 3 then, double crochet, puff stitch, and then 4 double crochets. So then puff stitch, double crochet, puff stitch, double crochet, puff stitch, four double crochets. So that's the repeat. So then we're going to then do a row of half doubles, and we're going to be doing the back post half doubles around the puff stitches exactly the same way we did here, and then I'll see you when we're back there. So I've finished that with one row of half doubles, working back post half doubles around the puff stitches, and that is the repeat done. So you would be doing the transition row next and then starting with these V-stitches as we've done before. So much easier than it looks. If like for my throw, I think it was I started with 148 chain and one repeat here is just wide enough for that to be a scarf. 2 of these repeats is wide enough to be a wrap or a shawl, and either 3 or 4, depending on your preference, full repeats makes a nice lap throw. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to my channel, because that really does help me bring you more content like this. That was a clip just falling off one of my lights. The whole place is falling to pieces. So happy crochet. Please enjoy. Love as always, and I'll see you very soon.